So here we are in week 2 of this Characters of Easter series, where we are digging in intentionally to the lives of certain people to be able to see the role that they did or didn't play in the death and the resurrection of Jesus. And this week we really kind of double dipped, looking at the life of Pilate and the life of Barabbas and the roles that they played, though they were actually really kind of completely opposite people. And so Pilate, to start with, was a mid-level Roman politician. Right? He was really on thin ice as the governor of Judea, as we see him in the stories that we read this past Sunday, because he was known for his brutality, even in that type of environment and that culture where death and violence was more prevalent than it is today. But what he did, what Pilate would incite, the violence that he was okay with, actually was so bad that the Roman government didn't agree with it, because oftentimes it would incite riots where more people would be harmed, and it would just be this uncertainty within their culture because of his decisions. Now Barabbas, on the other hand, he was a part of creating riots. He was a part of creating uprising. He was known to the Roman government as a domestic terrorist. Someone who would kill just to be able to get his way of overthrowing the Roman government. Someone who taught other people to kill and at all costs do whatever it took to overthrow the government that they were being mistreated by. He didn't care what it was. And Barabbas had been arrested and was in the custody of Pilate. And so as we see these two paths come together, we see that Pilate offers up in exchange for Jesus the freedom of Barabbas, as was a custom in the time of the Passover. He's thinking, okay, they're definitely going to choose Jesus over Barabbas, but they didn't. They chose Barabbas to set Barabbas free. Now, Barabbas is really the single greatest illustration of the impact of the gospel on the life of a sinner, or should I say a regular person. Because here's a dirty, sinful, selfish person, right? Someone who's only living for himself, someone who would do anything to be able to accomplish what he wanted, even killing other people, right? Someone who deserved death in that culture. Jesus literally traded his life for him. This is no different than you and me with the sins that we commit and the death that you and I deserve in all of eternity. That Jesus traded his life for you and me because he chose to. In the midst of all of this chaos, where it seems that Jesus may even be on his knees in front of Pilate, as he has already been beaten a little bit and he's going to be flogged again and tortured, when it seems that Jesus might be completely powerless, he's actually fully in control. This doesn't mean, though, that Jesus is causing bad things to happen, but what it does mean is that what is happening, he's able to use for the benefit of his kingdom, for his glory, for the benefit of the good of all of mankind. Why? Because of his love was the central focus of why he went to the cross and why he did what he did in the way that he acted. So what we see about the power of God is that Jesus doesn't need us to defend him. He wants us to trust him. He wants us to trust him and understand that he knows what he's doing, even though it doesn't make sense to us. Even though everything within us wants to say, fight back, Jesus, fight back, he's saying, I am fighting. Because in the midst of when Pilate was trying to save Jesus, Jesus in his way, which ultimately won, was actually trying to save Pilate. The ways of God are not our ways. How do we learn to trust those more? And so a couple things I want us to think about and discuss this week is, first, what character in this week's sermon do you relate to the best? Do you relate to Pilate the best or to Barabbas? And then why? What makes you say that? And then number 2, how does it help you to trust God more, knowing that no matter the situation you're in, he's still in control?